What if I told you that the growth of your business is well within your power and it doesn't have to be luck? But there's two types of designs. There's the design plan of growing a business and there's the default plan. And I want to talk to you about building your business by design and not luck. I'm Tom Perrone, and I am the founder and president of New England Consulting Group. And thank you for taking the time to listen to me today, because I think this message is extremely important for people who are building their business and want to see the results of the work of their life effort when the time comes and they want to get out of their business. The question behind the growth. Most owners don't lack the ambition, as we're talking about. They work hard. They put everything they have into their business. It's their baby. But the question becomes, is your growth intentional or is it by design? Is it just happening? How is it growing? And business owners have to understand that the business is very pragmatic, based on strategies and what we call business value drivers. Business can be fragile. We've all been in business where the highs and the lows of cash flow, the costs of things, the challenges. However, building the business is just more than a snapshot of time. So again, we're looking at long-term growth in your business. There are some hidden traps that I find business owners don't pay enough attention to that are in their business. And one of them is no long-term clear growth. And what I mean by that is that they don't have a strategy long-term. Everything's day to day. You know, they show up for work, they hope things happen, they hope they make some money, but they don't have a long-term strategy. And when I talk long-term strategy, this requires clarity and structure and processes and value drivers that we're going to talk about. 2, a limited protection against unexpected events. There's no plan B. I have 4 questions I always ask employers. What if you died today? What happens to your business? What if your key person or group decided to leave because your competition gave them more money and they left? What if you just burn out? Mentally, you just can't do it anymore. What if you have no control of the economy? What's your plan B? Can you survive those 4 questions? And I would run the fire drill, because they're extremely important questions that every business owner should actually have a plan B. Inefficient tax planning. Now, when I say taxes, a lot of business owners think in terms of filing their taxes and how much taxes they're paying. However, it's not about that. It's about when you finally decide to get out of your business, do you have a structure and a plan to extract the equity of your business out of the business on a tax efficient basis? That's number 1. Number 2, are you using your cash flow in your business to create wealth for you on a tax effective basis? The business should be working for you, not you for the business. Number 4, no defined exit or succession plan. Very, very important. I always say to business owners, the minute you buy a business or you start a business, start thinking about succession and transition. Because most of the valuable strategies that cause the multiples to be much higher down the road when you sell are going to be based on these value drivers that take a long time to implement. They have to be implemented consistently and with patience. The uncertainty of turning the business success into a personal financial security. Wow, that's a big one. And what I mean by that, most business owners put everything they have into their business, really everything, and it's tied in their business. They're not taking a lot out of it. And the time, what they're counting on is when they retire, they're going to extract this business and create enough money to pick up the gap of what they've saved versus what they really need when they retired. We call that the gap, and I have a video on that is at the end of this video. You could click it and talk about the gap. It's very important that a business owner actually understand that. By understanding that, they are able to plan much better to make sure that at some point when they extract their value, they get the value they want for their company. Now, questions every business owner really should ask is, one, do you have a clear, fail-safe plan to grow, protect, and eventually transition your business? See, it's not just thinking about it. There has to be a plan. There has to be a process. And this takes time. I'm not saying it's something you think of in a day, but you have to keep working towards this plan. The other part is, remember, when you sell your business in the future, the purchaser doesn't want you. They want the processes, the manpower, and the systems along with your customers, but they don't want you. So you have to prepare to step away of death, disability, retirement, what's going to happen to you. Now, retirement's the bigger one. That's the bigger issue sometimes, because not every business owner wants to retire because they spend so much time building their business. I get that, and most of you get that, okay? But it's something that you have to think about. And like I said before, can you extract, under number 3, the equity in this business on a tax-effective basis? A lot of people, when they sell their business, when they leave it, the problem is they need so much money to recoup so they can retire in the standard that they've been used to living, because the company's been helping them along, paying for all their cars, their country clubs, their lunches, their vacations, their health insurance, all that stuff. That's a lot of stuff. When you retire, you don't have a company doing that, right? So you have to net a certain amount of money after all the fees and the capital gains and the taxes. That's got to be sufficient to be able to pay you an income along with your other resources. 4, are you maximizing compensation and benefits? This is an area that is a no-brainer if you know about it. Now, I'm going to warn you, attorneys and accountants do their job very well, but they're not planners. So many of them have no idea how executive compensation works and how to skew good plans to the owner. And I work with them all the time, and I educate them because it's not their forte. So I'm not picking on them, it's just that they don't know, just like I wouldn't know really how to read some of the drafts that I see. Do you have a plan for unexpected turndowns, key employees, losses, sudden life, all those what ifs that I talked about? Again, something to definitely think about. From uncertainty to a destiny plan. That's my mantra. I want business owners to think about what they're building and not make it by luck. I want them to do it by design. I lost my father. I was 21 years old. He died at 51. He had a great business. He had no plans. So a wonderful, profitable business in Hamden, Connecticut was liquidated within 3 years for pennies on the dollar. I saw the destruction it did to my 49-year-old mother, who is now widowed with 5 kids. So I don't want that to happen to you. So all of this makes some sense to me. But you need a growth, you need to have growth, you need to have protection, you need equity, meaning using the business to extract wealth for you, and you need a transition plan. Those are things that every year you should revisit, have a fire drill. Without these, you're not going to maximize the value of your company. So implementing systems at scale, That's very important to you, because business owners who are selling their business, which many of them should, need to know that the purchasers want processes, they want headcounts, they want to see growth in a business. They want to buy a business that's growing, not one that's peaked and not one that's faltering, and not one that doesn't have processes. That's important. You need a middle management, number two. This is your primary value driver. The people that are running your company, that are implementing these value drivers. You know, if you're walking around as a company and you got everything up in here and nobody knows anything other than you, and they have to come to you, that's not a business. You have a place to go, a position, and maybe a paycheck, right? But it's not a business that's going to be sellable. Focusing on true drivers of business, and I have again, like I said, I have a very good video on value drivers that I'll link to this video, and I would listen to it. It's the principles of business growth. So again, let's talk about protection. What happens if a key man leaves? You know, sometimes competition has deeper pockets than you. And if you have a key person, by the way, they know who that key person is. Everybody does. Your competition does. And they may have deeper pockets. And, you know, unfortunately, you could be as loyal as you want to an employee, but sometimes a $25,000 raise by a competition is what it takes to get them over. And guess what? They take secrets, they take employees. It's that simple. What if cash flow tightens? Do you have a reserve? Do you have an emergency fund? Do you have a good banker? Do you have a way of getting more money? Do you have executive benefit plans that you could reach in and grab that money? What if you can't continue running the business? Burnout is a big thing. I coached hockey for many years, and what I saw when the kids were 14 or 15, they were playing so much, they burnt out. Well, that's no different than people running a business and going through the stress, having a business where they feel they're running an adult daycare because their employees are always in trouble for some reason, not showing up, in debt, whatever it might be. You burn out. So if that's the case, what happens to your business? What are you going to do? Equity. I'm a true believer that most of the qualified plans, like 401ks and profit sharing, are your least effective plans for the owner. I'm not saying don't participate in it, but I'm saying you can't, because you're the owner, put the amount of money that you need to retire on in these plans. Consequently, you need to look at executive compensation plans that only you can be involved with. You can't have everybody in it. It's only for you and your family, and you write the rules. So you could take your cash flow and put money in there. Before, when I talked about, do you have an emergency if the economy goes sour? Well, I have clients that have so much money in their executive compensation plans, they could reach in and grab that money to support them. I have clients that are buying their inventory at low rates through their executive compensation plan, rolling the inventory, making the profit, and putting it back into their plans, loaning it to themselves basically free. So two would be structuring compensation to maximize benefits, as we just talked about. And that, in that area, I would say you have, that could also be some key people to keep. Building wealth both inside and outside the business. So you need to diversify, and you don't want the business to be tied to one asset. Transition. What will be, we want the transition to be on your terms. We want you to be able to sell at the price you want, and to be able to sell to who wishes to buy that you wish to buy. Will you receive full value? That really relates to what you've done in the previous years. Value drivers, preparation, processes, key people, key team. The third one is your family or team prepared. Example, is your wife signed you up for dinner. Your wife did not sign you up for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. So if you're planning on retirement, I have to say you have to really think about this and have a plan. And also, there are business owners that I know and I've worked with who have turned their business into a business in which they still participate, but they have their key people running it for them, okay? And that's important because if you're going to stay there, you still have to hand over the rights and the decision making to your key people, and you have to be prepared to do that. It's a very good strategy to have key people running your business, and you stick your head in there to get your paycheck, and you're still, actively at work when you want to be. A passive owner, I call it. I put together a bunch of download guides that are in there, and I put a nice report that covers what we talked about in this video. But there's another one, this business owner viewpoint, that I suggest that you download. It's a 3-minute survey, and if you take it, I'll send you a report, both in hard copy and video, about a 12-minute video of where you are versus some of the areas that we see that you should spend time in to make it better. Because if you did planning before January of 2026, there's a good chance that everything you did is out of date at this point of the game, or most of it. So you might want to know where are you in your planning, and we'll give you an idea. And then if you feel that you need to talk to us more, you just give us a call. But I would enjoy if you would like and subscribe to our channel. We put these things together every month, a couple of them, just to help the business owner grow, be successful, take advantage of all the opportunities that are there. And I have a great blog and a podcast. The blog is yourbusinessworth.com. Great articles there. And my podcast is Building and Protecting Your Business Worth. Put it in Google, it'll come right up. Great podcast. I have a couple of them every month. And I want to thank you for spending the time with us. And the way to start planning is download the Where You Are report, and I'll send you a report of where you are, and it'll help you to really plan the future when you start planning of what areas to spend time with. So thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to come and visit with me. Thank you.